Check, check, check. Oh, that was a loud clap. That literally just made my ear ring. Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I made my song Cruisin. This is a really fun song and I'm really proud of it. So, little disclaimer, this is a breakdown video, so you're not going to hear the final product of the song here. So if you want to hear the song before watching this video or something like that, feel free to go check it out. It's here on the YouTube channel. You can listen to it here, or just check out the description for the links to Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, SoundCloud, all the places. The song is everywhere. You can listen to it everywhere. Go check out the song and then come back here so you can see how it was made. This song started back in 2022. I was working on another batch of songs. When I was working on those songs, I actually got the idea for Cruisin, and I wanted to put Cruisin on that EP, but it just didn't happen. Yeah, I was just sitting outside with my guitar on a nice hot summer evening, and I just started kind of strumming some chords on the guitar and kind of singing a little melody, and I thought it was like the catchiest thing ever. Like, I was unbelievably stoked that I just stumbled across this idea. So I came here into my studio, kind of just wanted to try and demo something out. I didn't get very far, but so I just made this little drum loop in here. And I just grabbed my guitar and just kind of played along the chords, and then I just kind of started humming the melody for the chorus and the lyrics. So like, just na 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 na, and then I kind of started slowly but surely like adding the words, like cruising down the 395 to get to you. And I was like, wow, that's bringing down some friends with me to meet you too. And I was like, whoa, that's like the catchiest thing ever. So I just kind of played around with that for a little bit, and I think I even have a voice memo here on my phone of that initial kind of like jam session. Oh yeah, this is it. April 5th, 2022. Yeah, that was not the greatest singing ever, but you know, yeah, that's where it all started. Okay, yeah, and then after that I kind of demoed out the song, and then I just kind of let it sit on my computer up until March actually of this year, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I was actually planning on like replacing a lot of the instrumentation from the demo, but like 90% of what was in the demo ended up in the final version. Because after not really listening to the demo for a couple years, when I came back to this, I was like, what? This actually sounds great. Like, I don't need to change anything. So let's hop right into it, shall we? Okay, so here is the project file of Cruisin. This probably, yeah, this has a lot of layers. Yeah, there's about 134 layers in this song. Ooh. Let's just start off with the instrumentation, because that is kind of where the song started, and it usually just makes the most sense, at least for me, to kind of start there. The song started with the guitar, as I demonstrated earlier, but when I recorded the guitar in, it wasn't sounding quite right, so I experimented a little bit, and I landed on a Rhodes sound to kind of hold down the chord section of the song. And I ended up using Lounge Lizard. I printed the audio here so you can't see anything, but yeah, it's just Lounge Lizard doing this. And that more or less just repeats throughout the entire song. You know, it drops out in certain sections, but then we get the bass in here, which is actually comprised of 2 layers. Again, I printed all this, so I can't show you guys any of the like original stuff I used. But here's what the bass sounds like on its own. And again, that more or less just repeats throughout the entire song, you know, little variations and dropouts here and there. But basically, the main meat of the bass is this sub-bass layer, which is just a Reason subtractor on the default bass guitar patch. Just nothing changed. I actually really like that patch a lot. It's a really, really nice bass sound. And then I layered on top of that this little texture, which actually is my bass guitar, and I sampled me playing a few notes on the bass guitar, put it into a sampler, and then I was able to play the bass notes on the keyboard, or with MIDI. And the reason I wanted to do that is so the sub bass and my bass guitar sample thing, I wanted to make sure that they would line up perfectly. I was going for a pop song vibe for this song, and I wanted everything to be quantized. I wanted everything to be really perfect. I didn't want there to be a whole ton of sloppiness or humanization type stuff going on. I wanted everything to be really tight and really clean. And yeah, I printed all that stuff, so I'm sorry. There's nothing going on here. I put a little bit of Maserati Waves B72 on the bass group. This is really one of my go-to plugins for just bass mixing. I just think it sounds great sounding plugin. And then I'm sidechaining the bass to the kick, so it ducks a little bit, gives it a little more of a ducky sound. Then we have the drum kit, which is there's a lot of crap going on here. I'll expand some of this a little bit. It's kind of crazy, but here's the drums. So yeah, there's 2 kick drum layers. So here's the main kick. And I didn't use MIDI to program these in. I just dropped these in, the audio straight in on the grid. And then I layered in a little kick top just to give the kick a little more click. Then the snare is super convoluted. There's so much crap going on in the snare sound, which is kind of more of a clap sound, honestly. So I have these clap samples. This is actually me clapping. That's kind of the bulk of it. I layered on some hand clap sample from the Alesis HR16 drum machine that I have up in my closet. Just kind of a little layer. Then I layered my snare drum back here. I have a Ludwig Superlight 14, 5.5 by 14 that I dampened and stuff, and I layered that in. And then I added in another snare sample. I don't know where this one's from. And then all together, that's all 4 layers. And then I have some hi-hats here, just some closed hi-hats that I did MIDI program these. There's alternating velocity. And then a little open hat. And then I have a little crash sample. Sounds kind of dreamy. I put a phaser and a ping pong delay on there. And then I have these little tom fills. These were recorded with Easy Drummer, or programmed with Easy Drummer, I should say. Just kind of these little fun, like drum fill, tom fill things. Oh, that's it. Just one tom. Yeah, just recorded with Easy Drummer, and I put a DS10 drum shaper on there just to increase the sustain a little bit. To supplement those little tom fills, I also added these little drum fills that are actually outside of the drum bus because they sounded too squashed and compressed, I ended up putting a drum bus at 50% dry wet on the drum bus, and this drum fill just sounded too squashed. I didn't like it, so I kept it outside of the drum bus. This is also Easy Drummer. Yeah, with the drums, those little drum fills. And then with the bass. And with the Rhodes. I can't dance. What am I doing? So then on top of the drums, I ended up adding these like little guitar chuck things. So I recorded 2 of them. I recorded 2 on the acoustic guitar and another 2 just with my electric guitar DI plugged straight into the computer. So here's what those sound like together. Here's just the acoustic. And then the DI. That was basically me trying to copy the rhythm section in Dominic Fike's 3 Nights. This song, heavily inspired by 3 Nights. Obviously, it's kind of my own, take on it, spin, whatever. But I took a lot of inspiration from 3 Nights for this song. And I loved that, kind of palm muted chord guitar sound thing that he has in 3 Nights, and I thought it would fit here in Cruisin. So I don't know exactly how Dominic Fike achieved that sound, but this is just kind of what I ended up coming with to kind of emulate that. So then, yeah, when you put the chucks and the drums and the bass and the Rhodes together, you get this. And that's most of the song right there. That's most of the instrumentation, I should say. Everything else is kind of ornamentation. Another little like ear candy thing I added to this main part of the instrumental, this chorus, is I added in these like little 8th note palm mute things. That's actually my nylon string guitar, my mom's nylon string guitar that she kind of loaned me. Yeah, it blends in really nicely with this rhythm section. It just sounds really cool. Just gives it a really cool groove. It's a little buried, especially once you get the vocals in there, but it just adds a little bit extra groove. I also added in these shakers, or the shaker in the chorus. It's just my LP Latin percussion shaker. It's just this thing, this little shaker right here, and I think you can take them apart and only use one. And I think I just did that, or maybe I did this. Maybe I did it with both. I don't remember, but yeah, that's a great shaker. I love that shaker. It's great times. And then I later on in the song, in the guitar solo in the final chorus, I layered it with a second shaker, which actually was a sample, a loop, rather. In the beginning of the song, in the intro, there's this little ambience thing that plays. Just to go on a quick tangent about that, because I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the video. Maybe put this at the beginning of the video. This song was originally supposed to be about Vegas. I wanted it to be like a Vegas-themed song, but when I drafted up the first draft of the lyrics, they were just so corny and on the nose, so then I ended up sitting down again to rewrite the lyrics, a few months back. And, the lyrics just kind of came out, and, I don't really know what the lyrics mean, but I wanted the vibe of Vegas to be in this song somehow. So at the beginning of the song, what I ended up doing, just to kind of hit home some of those Vegas vibes a little bit, was there was this video I had on my phone of my girlfriend and I in Vegas, and we were looking out from a balcony at the hotel we were staying at, like out on Vegas. And this is just the ambience, or the sound from that video clip. There's like some people on the balcony or two over, like talking. And then I added this little guitar, the guitar chords on here. Same chords as the Rhodes. Same thing. It's just running through a rotary, Melda M rotary, an amazing modulation plugin, I'm telling you right now. And then Valhalla Room are like the bulk of that sound. 100% wet, by the way. So yeah, the guitar chords still made it in the song somehow, which was nice. In the breakdown here, we have some extra percussion that comes in. The song, as I started working on it more, started to kind of give me like Latin vibes. So I wanted to kind of play off that a little bit. So I added in, I have a conga here. And so I played the conga and layered that in with the drums. Here's the conga by itself. Just 2 takes, panned, 25 left, 25 right, and I didn't play the exact same pattern for both takes. They're a little bit different, but it gives this cool little like stereo movement to the congas. And then this doesn't have anything to do with the Latin vibe, but I just added in a really pitched down, slowed down tambourine loop. Well, it's not really slowed down, but it's pitched down very heavily. Yeah, and the breakdowns, the Rhodes drops out, the acoustic and DI guitar chucks drop out, and you just get the drums and like this weird percussion and the bass guitar. It's pretty cool. Some other ear candy things I added to this breakdown was I added this kind of like weird it reminded me of like a plane. Like here in the project file, I called it Demented Plane. Spooky. Leading into the breakdown, I added in this little like laser gun sound. That's kind of a fun little sound. Originally, the sound was just this. But when I was kind of finalizing the recording, I thought it needed a little something extra, so I added a grain delay. And in the breakdown or the bridge, I added in this really cool like twinkle sound. It's a Rhodes with a tremolo and some OTT and a bunch of crazy stuff, but it sounds like this in like the second half of the bridge. Oh, it sounds so cool. It sounds like gold coins or something being dropped on the ground. Again, kind of alluding to that Vegas vibe a little bit. For me, at least. Moving forward to the second verse, once we get into the second verse, there's these big rat guitar layers that come in. If you've heard the song, you probably know what part that is. It's just a bunch of guitars being run through that TSC Rat plugin. I also used that for the guitar tones on In Your Mind in the climax of that song. It's just 2 takes being panned 40 left, 40 right. And I made the bass line do the same thing. And then just to make it a little more crazy and disorienting, I added in this little like middle, like, you know, this weird part that's not panned to the side. It's just dead up the middle. Kind of a crazy sound. In the breakdown, I have some risers here going. In the first breakdown, I have a few risers here going into the second verse when, you know, before everything kind of cuts out. So I just have like a reverse vocal verb. It's just my voice soaked in reverb and then reversed. And then this is really fun. This is actually an explosion sample from Mixkit, and I just reversed it. So originally, I think, let's see what it sounded like before. We go over here to the breakdown, or the bridge is what I was calling it, and I added in this Eerie guitar layer. If you've heard one of my old songs, old from a few years back, Wheelie, this is very similar to the guitar tone I used in Wheelie towards the end of that song. Very distorted and crazy and psychedelic and just kind of eerie. That's being obviously run through some distortion. I printed all the effects again. I'm sorry, I printed a lot of the effects for this song, but I know that it's running through Soundtoys Crystallizer and Valhalla Vintage Verb for the really spacey sound. Yeah, then we have the guitar solo, which is freaking awesome. That's just being run through Bias FX2 on the default freaking preset, and I'm running it through a little bit of reverb and delay down here on these return tracks. So I'm running it through a little bit of Valhalla Room and running it through a little bit of Echo Boy, just to give it a little space. So that's pretty much the whole instrumentation. Now, you know, the vocals. So I actually split up the vocal tracks into, you know, based off of which section of the song they were in. So I have a lead vocal here for the chorus. I have another lead vocal track here, group, for the verses. So, you know, here, the lead vocal track for the choruses, I'll just talk about the chorus vocals first. I have a lead vocal here, which is being double tracked for all the choruses in the song. And it's being run through my vocal chain. Well, this is my old vocal chain, actually. I've updated it since then. But at the time, it was, you know, being run through a gate, being run through a little bit of corrective EQ, being run through some de-essing, being run through UAD, LA2A, some multiband compression, and a little bit of subtle filtering, and then some soothe at the very end. I recorded all these vocals with my Rode NT1, so some of the vocals were a little bright. I had to tame them a little bit. Here's the lead vocals by themselves. I'm just cruising down the 395 to get to you. Yeah, and I'm bringing down some friends with me.
to meet you too.
Then, so that's the lead vocal that's just kind of up the middle, just to help with kind of mono compatibility and just kind of filling the vocal out a little more. But then we have our doubles, and there's a lot of doubles, and this is kind of what the majority of the vocal sound is comprised of in the choruses. So as you can see, the layers build up a little bit as the song goes on. So in the first chorus, there's not as many layers. In the second chorus, there's a few more layers, just like a few more background vocals here. And then in the third chorus here, a few more background vocal layers, show up. Mostly, falsetto layers or, like artificially pitched up layers. But yeah, so the choruses fill out a little bit more. I'll go to the very last chorus just so you can kind of see where everything ends up. But here's all the doubles together.
I'm just cruising down the 395 to get to you. Yeah.
So the gang vocals, or the doubles, are just comprised of, looks like we got 4 just regular old doubles here, all panned left, right in various ways.
I'm just cruising down the 395 to get to you.
And then we have a few high layers. What are those? Falsetto layers. They sound horrible in isolation, but they sound great in the context of everything else. And then some high dupes. I think these are probably copy pasted from the lead doubles up here, but they're artificially pitched up with like Alter Boy or something.
I'm just cruising down the 395 to get to you.
Yep. And then we have a few low layers, so me singing an octave lower.
I'm just cruising down the 395 to get to you.
Then, we get to the verse vocals. We have a verse lead vocal right here, which is more or less the same vocal chain as the chorus lead vocal, except for the fact that it looks like I added on a little bit of extra saturation. I added a little bit of pull tech, taking out some highs, but also boosting them a little bit. And same thing, boosting and attenuating 30 hertz, just take out some of the lows a little bit. Being run through a little bit of 1176 here just to tame some of the peaks. The vocal was a little peaky. I wanted to smooth that a little more. And then I'm running it through a little bit of Valhalla delay in parallel, just to kind of sit it in the mix a little more.
No, I said I'd be long gone. You have me there.
Then in the verses, I add in these really cool harmonies.
Like 5 times you got me high. I saw the light.
And then with the lead vocal.
You just wanted me to have a good time. Let me unwind.
Pretty cool. I like that a lot. That sounds sick. There's this little phone filter layer in the first verse only.
I saw the light.
Kind of shadowing the lead vocal a little bit.
Good time. Let me unwind.
It's primarily just Pro Q on this phone preset. Then yeah, in the second verse, things get a little interesting. The first half of the verse is the same as the second half of the first verse. That's kind of confusing, but it's got the harmonies in there.
Dollars all around my neck, give me the height to fall.
But then
It's so darling when you try to talk me out of it. Just one more game to play. Maybe you'll come and take me away. Your play, yeah.
So cool. It's my favorite part of the song for sure. And it's the same, I'm using all those doubles that come in.
It's so darling when you try to talk me out of it.
A lot of those tracks are just being recycled, like the audio tracks themselves, just same effects and everything as the doubles in the choruses. But I'm adding in these really cool oohs underneath everything. It's just me obviously going ooh, 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 and my falsetto, ooh, or whatever the melody is. And then those kind of make a reprise in the second half of the last chorus, but instead of going ooh, I'm going ah, and there's a few more layers here. Then yeah, there's a few ad-libs sprinkled throughout the song. I'll just kind of run through them super quick. That one's actually being run through a frickin' drum bus. That's interesting. Here's another ad-lib.
What? Yeah.
That was me kind of copying J-Hope ad-libs from Arson. Thought that sounded kind of cool. Then towards the end here, we have this A. Then in the breakdown here, I actually have like these really cool kind of like reverb and delay things I added just as kind of ear candy. I just kind of took my voice and pitched it down like crazy and added some weird delay to it just for like little kind of embellishment. And then, yeah, last but not least, I guess I have these little ahs, like these breathy, like kind of things I did. That's it. Just kind of to up the energy a little bit and make it more cool. But that's Cruisin'. That's Cruisin', baby. Cruising down the 395. That's not a geographically correct lyric because it was originally supposed to be like, you know, I'm cruising down the 395 to get to Vegas. But 395 doesn't take you all the way through Vegas, but it sounded catchy and the phonetics worked, so, you know, it is what it is. That's Cruisin'. That's how I recorded it. It's actually a lot more simple than you would think. Looking at this project file, you'd think, holy crap, you know, that's insane. But yeah, the vocal production is a little crazy, I guess, but instrumentation is actually very simple. Not too many plugins being used, even for sound design purposes. I mean, it's actually pretty bare bones. I did a really good job producing this song and like having just good sounds straight from the source. So the song was just really, you know, kind of once things started coming together a little bit, once I kind of got past the demo stage, everything just kind of fell into place. But that's Cruisin'. I hope you're enjoying it, and please, by all means, go give us some streams. Go give us some love. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoy the song, let me know. Yeah, go stream Cruisin'. Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, SoundCloud, all the other streaming services, Amazon, here on the channel. Go give it a spin and let me know what you think. I feel like there's something else I want to say, but I can't think of it. Okay. Goodbye.